All right, so let's call the meeting of the Board of Public Works to order. On May, what is it, the 18th? The 19th? 18th, 2017, 3:02 PM. Could you please call the roll?
Mayor Donches,
Here?
Commissioner Bergeron,
Here.
Commissioner Pappas,
Here.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Here.
Commissioner Ackerman.
Present. We have a quorum. Is there a motion pertaining to the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
I wanted to raise one thing regarding the agenda. We do have a group of people here to speak to the naming of the field after Kyle Bettinger, and that doesn't appear till almost the end.
Mayor, I wanted, may I just, I'll let the commissioners know what the changes were, because they haven't seen that yet, so they're probably wondering what that is.
Oh, okay.
So you have a goldenrod copy. So the two additions were under solid waste, motion A to approve the selection of Carla Thibodeau. The reason that is late is because the posting didn't come down in time. That is an internal candidate. And then the other is under administration, motion B, to submit a positive recommendation to the Board of Aldermen for the naming of the Little League Field at Memorial Park on Ledge Street after Kyle. So, and that's what, there are some members of the public here to speak to, and that's what the mayor was referring to.
So if possible, could we amend the motion to say that we would take the item regarding the naming of the field after public comment, so that they don't have to wait around through all of our other business?
I would move to amend that.
Is there a second on the motion to amend?
Second the motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes, and so we're to the main motion, which is to approve the agenda as amended, which, that motion has been made and seconded. And if there's no discussion, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Is there a motion on the minutes?
I'll move to approve the minutes of the Board of Public Works meeting of April 20th, 2017.
Is there a
Second.
second?
Second the motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We have a public comment section. Now, for the people who want to speak about the Kyle Bettinger Field, we're going to take you, so you don't have to speak on the public comment. We'll ask you to come up on the next item. But if there's anyone who would like, any member of the public who would like to speak on any issue, please come forward. And I don't really see that, so there's no member of the public. So the next item on the agenda as amended is the positive recommendation for the naming of the Little League Field at Memorial Park on Ledge Street after Kyle Bettinger. So with those who want to address us on that issue, just come on right up to the table. And
Thanks for having us on the agenda, and a big thanks to Kim and the Parks Department for helping us with this project. Last year, a Nashua native, 26-year-old Kyle Bettinger, suddenly passed away. Kyle had been born in Nashua, raised in Nashua, went to school in Nashua, lived and worked his whole life here. He is the firstborn of the three Bettinger children, the son of Patty and Paul Bettinger. Bettingers have been in our community since the early 80s. Patty is a nurse in our school system. Paul is a business owner here in our community. Kyle's the kind of young man that you would want as your son. Kyle was always smiling. Kyle was always upbeat. Kyle was always asking if you could help out. Kyle loved baseball. That was his passion. He played baseball in our community, t-ball through high school. And when his playing days were done, he decided to give back to the community that he grew up in and loved so much. So he coached, he umpired. I'm willing to bet in his short 26 years of life, he spent 22 on a baseball diamond here in this community. So with his passing, we wondered how to remember a wonderful young man like this that left us too early. And it was pretty easy. It had to do with baseball, his love. He'd given back and he'd shared time with the youngsters in our community to give them the passion that he had in the game. So we thought the most fitting thing would be dedicate a field in the city of Nashua in the name of Kyle Bettinger. And we're hoping, with your blessing, you will do that. This is a very small token on the city's part, and will mean a world to the family, the Bettinger family. So that's our project, and we're hoping that you see, as we do, this would be fitting for this young man in his memory, and name a ball field after Kyle Bettinger. Thank you.
Now, we've got a memo in the packet from Director Photo with proposed legislation that would be proposed to the Board of Aldermen. Is there any discussion or a motion concerning this memo and recommendation?
So does it need a positive recommendation? Is it a?
I think the
Obviously.
plan would be, if we recommend it, to take it to the Board of Aldermen and ask for
Okay.
their approval as well, via the resolution that is attached to the memo.
Okay, so that would not be in our regular packet.
It's in the goldenrod. It's about,
It's okay with the board. We have one other party who would like to say some words about Kyle.
yes, that'd be
That'd
fine.
great.
yes.
My name is Mike Brown. I reside at 15 Cathedral Circle in Nashua. I've been a coach in the Nashua baseball system since 1995. Had 3 sons that grew up in the system, and I had the privilege of coaching Kyle for 7 years, from rookie baseball through the minors to the majors. Went on a trip to Cooperstown with him, and from the perspective of a friend of the family and the type of person that Kyle is, I can't think of a better way to honor one of the youths of Nashua for the service during his career in Nashua public sports. That spans a period from '94, when he started in T-ball, through the rookie leagues at Nashua North, into the minors at Nashua North, into the majors at Nashua North, into Ray Orban, into Babe Ruth, into the Nashua North freshman team, the junior varsity team. And if you look at that over the span of 14 years, I think he touched pretty much every level of sports in baseball that's offered by the city. And as Rob had said, turned around once his career was done, became a coach in Nashua Little League, and also an umpire within the system at the youth level. So from a dedication to baseball within the city, I just can't think of someone that would be better to name a field after, because of his level of involvement through the number of years that he was involved with Nashua public sports. And as a coach and a mentor and a friend of the family, Kyle was the type of guy that, as Rob said, lived on a baseball field. And I think this would be very meaningful to a lot of people, and I think it's very appropriate to do. So with that being said, I'll turn it back over to you.
Does anybody have any questions? Is there a motion regarding this?
I wanted to listen, so do we have the resolution number?
Well,
Obviously, a positive recommendation, but it sounded like it was something that was going to go in front of the board.
well, there is a proposed resolution. Now, this hasn't been introduced yet.
Okay.
So it doesn't have a number, but it's attached to the Lisa memo.
Okay. All right, well, it doesn't look like it has a resolution number yet, but this has been very touching. 2 of my boys, they play baseball, and I think any parent would, I would be delighted to recommend a positive recommendation.
There's a motion to name the Memorial Park Little League Field after Kyle Bettinger pursuant to the resolution that has been prepared. Is there a second?
Second the motion.
Motion's been seconded. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Bergeron.
I would just echo the same as Commissioner Pappas. My son, as we talked, was a baseball player, and very similar, spent, I'd say, 80% of his life, 90% of his life on the baseball field, and this year he had the as I was just telling you, the Tommy John surgery, and everybody says, well, what's he gonna do if he can't play? I said, well, he's gonna coach. He's gonna coach a team, and he's gonna be right back on the baseball field, so certainly I'll support it, and I think it's a great thing. I served with Mike Brown on the Nashua Northwest board for many years, and like hockey families, it's baseball people. It's like you either get it or you don't. People say baseball, but, so definitely would support it. So.
All right, well, the motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes. So we will recommend, we will send this on to the Board of Aldermen. I'm sure we can find, you know, I will sponsor and we'll have others, and it will go, you know, it will be proposed, and I'm confident will be passed by the Board of Aldermen. So thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Very good. Now, before we get back to the regular order of agenda, of the meeting, our liaison, Ken Siegel, contacted me to say that he expects to be here, but that he will not be here at the beginning, and he expects to be late. And now we have Alderman Dean as well. Engineering Department. Do we have a motion on the residential and commercial wastewater service permits?
I'll make a motion to approve the residential and commercial wastewater service permits and fees as submitted.
Second the motion.
Any discussion? Who was that? I couldn't understand what that comment was. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
It was Charlie Brown.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next is the federal aid paving project. Is there a motion regarding that?
We actually have a
Get a presentation.
presentation.
Okay.
Mayor,
All right,
a brief
good.
presentation. This is in regards to the repurposed funds for the Broad Street Parkway. They're going towards paving. We're required to provide some information, so Amy Gill, our senior staff engineer, is going to give that presentation. You can either sit down, Amy, or whatever you're more comfortable with.
I guess we'll go on the other direction. I thought it had gone this way.
My name is Amy Proudhill, and I'm with the Public Works Engineering Department. I'm a senior staff engineer, and I'm here, as Director Photo said, to have a public meeting for the federal aid paving project that the city is proposing to embark on. As you're probably aware, there were federal dollars left over, repurposed from the Broad Street Parkway project, approximately $4.5 million that were eligible to be used for roadways in the city that were eligible for federal aid paving. The federal funds that were given to the city to use for this, that are being proposed to use for this project, require that the city follow the NHDOT local public agency process in order to use these funds. As such, that's the purpose of this meeting. This is a public meeting to discuss the project. This project is going to be municipally managed by the city engineering department. The engineering department and their staff are going to be conducting the design and the construction engineering for this project. As a municipally managed project using federal highway dollars, there's certain requirements that we have to go through, certain process requirements that have to be approved along the way. One of these is to hold a local concerns meeting like we're doing today that's open to the public. Another thing that we have to do during this process is to identify potential impact to resources that would be possibly impacted by the project. That includes the environmental, historic, and cultural resources on a local, state, and federal level. We also have to coordinate with the utilities for the work. Any improvements we make have to meet ADA, American Disabilities Act ADA requirements. Any detours of traffic during this project has to be reviewed by a traffic control committee by the NHDOT. And there's also right-of-way determination that has to be done during any project that goes through the LPA process. As part of this process as well, during a project like we're proposing, paving of roadways, you're going to have different phases: the preliminary engineering phase, the extensive environmental review phase, cost and estimate and schedule, final plans and specification, and a bid review and award to the contractor. During each of these processes, there are submittals that have to be completed, approved to the DOT. Any comments that they have, we have to incorporate and resubmit. And including the environmental review, there's other agencies, not just DOT, that we have to contact. In each phase and every step we do, the city has to receive an authorization from NHDOT to start the next step. The proposed location of this project is Somerset Parkway, Kinsley Street, Amherst Street from Somerset Parkway to Broad Street, and Broad Street from Broadcrest Lane to Amherst Street. What we're proposing to do is to pave these roadways using the federal highway dollars. The city is intending to remove by milling approximately 2.5 inches of pavement and putting back down 2.5 inches of pavement, therefore keeping the same elevation at the edge of the road. This is just to show the quick sketch of the locations so that you have an idea of where we're paving. This slide is Amherst Street from Somerset Parkway to Broad Street. The middle section of Amherst Street there that is being left out is going to be repaved as part of the Amherst Street Sharon Ave intersection project that's ongoing. This next location is the Broad Street location. We'll be going from Broadcrest Lane, which is where the city terminated paving last year, down to Amherst Street. Again, leaving out the one section where the Broad Street Parkway recently repaved, the section of roadway. Kinsley Street, we're going to be paving from the Turnpike near Exit 5 to Main Street. And the last roadway being Somerset Parkway from Amherst Street to Southwood Drive. Also, as a requirement of doing a paving project with the DOT and Federal Highway, there's a requirement for asphalt testing that has to be done during the duration of the project. That also contract will be coming up for approval in the future. So this is pretty much the distance that we intend to pave is about 5.8 miles on these roadways, linear feet, and we'll be using those dollars, federal highway dollars of approximately $4.5 million to do this work. Are there any questions or local concerns for this project? If you don't,
Commissioner Pappas.
It sounds like you've got a lot of approvals you have to get to. Do you have a timeline?
but the city's, we have a schedule that we're trying to meet. We have some submittals already into DOT for approval. This public meeting is part of that early stage of the preliminary
Right.
design stage that is ongoing. We do have a schedule. We would
Right.
like to get the project out to bid by June. I think it's June. Maybe middle of July. Middle of July will be coming before the board. We're going to advertise in June. It comes before the board in the middle of July, and then starting hopefully this fall.
What happens if the state drags its feet a little bit, might we be?
This project has a requirement to use the spending by October of 2019. So we expect it to be paving over 2 seasons.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Moriarty.
What happens in the event of cost overruns? do we limit the project, or do we get funding from elsewhere?
We would probably remove sections from this project because we don't want to go over the 4.5 million. If we expend any money, it still requires going through the process.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bergeron?
In the packet, I saw that fall 2017 to spring 2019, so I'd assume this fall we'll be just doing prep work and no actual paving will take place till 2018. Is that a
An aggressive
statement.
schedule would let us to do some paving this schedule. This fall, yes.
this fall?
Mhm. Depending, for instance, Kinsley Street, which is a street that's in an older section of Nashua, has a lot more requirements of structure repair and replacement than, say, Somerset Parkway, which is a newer road in the city. So depending on the amount of work a roadway requires is how it'll fit into the schedule.
Commissioner Bergeron?
Just as a follow-up to that, so we have our current paving schedule for the current streets that we approved last fall
Correct.
going, and so we're adding this project, and then recently, a bond was approved for this $37.5 million as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
Does anybody have the timelines as far as that goes? Back to Commissioner Pappas, are we going forward with doing work for the, extra work for the $37.5 million bond? Or does that get pushed out, or can we do this all at the same time?
They're all
From an
separate.
engineering standpoint?
Right, they're all individual projects. You have the annual paving program, which lasts for 1 year's paving that was in place prior to. But I'll have the city engineer Dukran talk about it
Yes,
as well.
Mr. Dukran can answer that question.
Do I get to sit?
That's the one that,
Here you go. Thank you, Mayor. To fully answer the question about the different projects, so we have the ongoing annual program that's going to be starting really soon, and then the Federal Highway paving that Amy's discussing. Hopefully, we can get the approval from the states and all those requirements, so we can have something start this fall as soon as possible. In the $7.5 million program, we are planning to spend some of that this year. We estimate we can spend about $1 million. We would choose streets that don't need utility work, streets that can be repaired easily, and you can just get a contractor to move. Hopefully, we can do contract change orders if the pricing is good. We have 2 existing paving contracts in the city. We have the one from last year, it's still open, and we have the one that we're starting this year. If they want to maintain the good pricing, because the trend is asphalt is going up, then we can do change orders with them and get about $1 million more of paving. I estimate, or I predict that we'll be able to just do some residential streets that don't have a lot of preparation work and utility work.
And we have a team that will be working on this project. In fact, we have a meeting Monday, and I spoke with John Vancourt. He's going to be doing a lot of work for us and helping us move forward, so we can get as much paving as we can done this season, so.
Now,
Just
last
put all our
night-
resources on it.
Last night, the Finance Committee contract with Hayner Swanson for help with supervising the paving was approved, as well as the contract with Stantec that would
Right.
enable them to update their PCI evaluation of half the streets in the
Correct.
city.
A third of the network they'll be looking at.
Commissioner Ackerman?
The contract being approved for Hayner Swenson was for the existing road construction here in the city, sorry. Are we leveraging that contract to take care of this additional repurposing of the federal funds?
I think the point there is that our engineering department would oversee this particular work, the repurposing, and then we would have Hayner Swanson assist with overseeing the $7.5 million
Okay, so it's not like in 6 months, we're gonna ask for the city for more money for another Hayner Swanson contract as part of this federal project, is that correct?
No, I don't anticipate that happening. I think we have, full control of this program, to the extent that it's within our control. The rest of it has to do with the DOT and approving all the steps that it requires to submit. One of the consequences, someone asked earlier, if the prices go up or it doesn't get done this year, like Amy said, we'll have cut back the scope and then deal with what we couldn't cover under this program with our existing funds. The other thing about not getting it done as soon as possible is that the roads don't wait for you. They continue to deteriorate, whereas the rehab method is 2.5 inches of mill and overlay. If it continues to deteriorate, we probably will have to do more extensive work, and that's why we are trying to get this done as soon as possible.
Mr. Mayor, will any of this work be done in the off-peak traffic hours?
We will offer that to the contractor. Typically on busy streets, there's an option for night work. Sometimes it makes a lot of sense to do so simply because of traffic management. But then some contractors, it's strange. Sometimes they give you a better pricing for night work, and then other times they wouldn't. So we'll probably make that an option in the bidding.
And one other question. I see a gap on Amherst Street, and I'm assuming the gap is approximately where Whole Foods is currently. That particular portion of Amherst Street is pretty tough shape at the moment because of all the traffic reconfiguration work that's going on. How is this project going to impact that or vice versa? And when do we anticipate continuing our work up there on Amherst Street in that jug handle area?
Actually, that work restarted last week. And they're doing the widening, to be followed by, you will see some milling and shimming of the pavement, curb work, median work, and final paving, striping, all of that. There's also a new mast arm that will go in at the intersection, Aldi's and Whole Foods. And so we expect all the work to be done by the middle of July. That's the contract date, and we expect it to be done by then.
Excellent, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions, comments?
And may I
Ms.
just say,
Gill?
Mayor, if anyone in the audience watching has any questions or local concerns about this project, they could bring that to the Division of Public Works Engineering's attention at 589-3120
Or at Riverside Drive?
at 9 Riverside Street.
So,
It's,
I think that, Commissioner Pappas.
it's nice to see Engineer Gill. I haven't seen her, but
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, we do not need a motion on that. We don't need a motion of any kind, right?
No.
It's just informational.
All right, thank you, Ms. Gill. Mr. Dukran?
Just stay on for the rest.
Yeah, why don't you stay for the rest? Do we have a motion on item C?
I'll make a motion to approve the award of the construction contract for the 2017 pavement preservation program to Seal Coating, Inc. of Braintree, Mass. in the amount of $327,423.94. Funded through Department 161 Street Fund, General Activity Paving Department, 161 Street Fund, Trust Account Category 54 Property Services Department, 169 Wastewater Fund, Wastewater Activities, Sewer Structures, and Sewer Rehab.
And I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? Commissioner Bergeron?
So the seal coating project is, for us, is new, correct?
You want to speak to this?
Yes.
Yeah, this is the new, what we had talked about
So,
during budget period.
right,
I
we did talk about two methods that we want to pilot for the recommendations of Stantec. Crack sealing and microsurfacing, which is a thin layer. And so that's what this program is intended to do.
And when they did the assessment of all the streets, then some of the streets you just said, these were just gonna do crack fill on it, and if we do that, these will move it up and down the index, or
Well,
basically?
Move up.
Oh,
That's what we want.
Well, yes, move up.
Right.
To the tune of 327,000, yes.
Commissioner Ackerman.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, thank you. This proposal here, is this part of the funding that's part of the bond? Or is this part of our, where is this money coming from?
This is fiscal year 17 appropriation for paving. So we had set aside this money, so it's not part of the bond.
Okay. And one last question. How many miles of lanes do you feel this is going to cover? Maybe it was in the writing?
I used to know that, and let me see if I can,
It says something.
Come with the number.
27,500 square
Square.
yards.
Yeah.
Tom, you're bright.
Oh, that's fine, but it's
Yeah.
obviously extremely significant.
Nothing like putting you on the
I
spot.
could, I can tell you which streets, though, that we have in mind. They are, for just crack sealing, we're looking at DW Highway, from, not Spitbrook Road, but it's, not Poison, Adventure Way, used to be Poison Ave, all the way to the Mass border. Poisson, the fish.
Actually, it's been renamed, right?
It's got Adventure Way, yeah.
Yeah.
We're looking at Timberline Drive, a long section of West Hollis Street. And then for the microsurfacing, you would crack seal first, and then microsurface. We're looking at Bowview Avenue, a section of Main Dunstable Road, Riverside Street, you know, where we are, our offices are, and Sweet William Circle, which is a short section. So, a couple of miles, I would think, 2 to 3 miles.
Anything else? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes. Is there a motion on item D?
I'll make a motion to approve the locating of the downtown street pianos on the sidewalk on Main Street sidewalk.
Second?
Is there any discussion?
So you had originally approved a couple of spots for the pianos, and Great American Downtown has asked for one additional location, and that's this location, which is between where Avishon used to be, those two large planters, right in the middle, between those.
All right. Mr. Mayor, just a quick question.
Commissioner Ackerman?
In the discussion point of this whole piece, it says, "The owner will assume liability." Who, again, is the owner?
Great American Downtown.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner
The
Bergeron?
piano's already been placed, though.
No, not to the best of my knowledge, it's not. There are two are out on already approved locations,
Well,
but,
there's one at this location.
are you sure?
There's one
Andy?
there was one at Bicentennial Park,
Mm-hmm.
and then there is one at Pearl Street.
There's one adjacent to 170 Main Street and one in Bicentennial Park, I think. If, it must be,
It's out.
they weren't approved to put it up, they were told they weren't.
I think it was part of the music festival.
No, that last one was not supposed to be put out, it wasn't put out.
When did, it was checked, we checked, when?
Earlier this week, it was not.
It's there, but,
It's there now?
yeah,
Okay.
which is fine.
Well, it's not really fine, because they didn't have approval, and they knew that. They needed approval, but
It's the one by
I will-
St.
I'll
Patrick,
talk
by
to
St.
Grid-
Patrick's Center and all that area, right? Somewhere around there?
No.
Where is it?
no.
I mean, by the,
It's,
It's where Avishon used to be, you know, where those very large planters are in
Yeah.
between, on the other, it's on the other side of the street.
Okay.
yeah.
on Main Street, so.
By the gyro.
The gyro, yeah, yeah.
Hold on,
Not
hold
that
on.
far from City Hall.
Hold on a second. If 100 Main Street is where the Carter's Min Shop was, how can 170 be on the other side of the street?
I'm talking about 215.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at this address here.
There is Bicentennial Park and 170 have already been approved, and there are pianos at those two locations.
Fair enough.
Yep. So 215 is the one they're asking, and if, I will definitely check that out, and if it is, I'll speak with Great American
I don't
Dental.
think 215 is out there.
I
do
didn't think
not
it was,
is.
but
I think
I'll
we've
check.
got the one at 170, although our exhibit here, I'm not sure is correct, but we've got the one at 170, that's out there. And then the one at Bicentennial is out there. But those are the two that were already approved, right?
Correct, the 170 and the one at
Yeah,
Bicentennial
because
have been approved.
the confusion is
So they're
that-
asking you to approve now 215 Main Street.
The confusion is that the exhibit says we're being asked to approve at 170.
I don't know why I asked. I donated to the pianos. I'm obviously for it.
Anyway, so despite the exhibit, the point
Okay.
is to approve the one at 215.
That's what happened here.
correct.
Yeah,
Just my confusion.
okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes. Next, do we have a motion regarding item E?
I'll make a motion to approve the vendor contract for the purchase of lights and poles for the David Dean Skate Park to SK and Associates of Canton, Mass. in the amount not to exceed $20,000. Funding will be through Department 161 Street Fund, General Activity, Street Infrastructure Improvements, FY17.
Second the motion.
Any discussion? Commissioner Ackerman.
Mr. Mayor, I had recently attended one of the mayor's ward meetings, and a question came up regarding the David Dean Skate Park and how we recently appropriated $9,000 last month for some additional, I'm going to say brickwork, but I know that's not what it was. It was something to do with construction. I thought that, it was blocks.
Yes.
But I thought the monies that we allocated to the skate park actually came from a foundation that were outside of the city budget. This is being requested by the city budget that it's unanticipated.
That's correct. So there is a trust fund that was set up, and so the contract with Artisan is being fully funded through that trust fund, and actually, most of the skate park is being funded through that. But we've budgeted about 80, and we do this for every one of our parks. The street department does the site work, and we do that so that we can keep the cost of the project down. So the street department will do the site work. We did that at Holocaust, the Legacy Playground, Sergeant's Ave. We actually, the street department back in, I believe, 2000, did the work, the original work at the skate park. So that's what,
So my question is this an unanticipated increase to the budget, or has this already been part of our approved budget going into the fiscal year?
this was part of our original budget.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes. And it's not coming out of the actual operating budget, it's coming out of capital. We have an infrastructure fund that mayor had allocated for us it's $140,000, and it was anticipated that we'd use some of that money for this.
And while I had the microphone, do we anticipate any other expenses for the David Dean Park? Even if it's out of the capital fund? Beyond what we have currently?
I don't believe so, but that doesn't mean that there couldn't be something, but no, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. We had block wall, which you were referring to, that we approved. We had asphalt, crushed gravel, and then some concrete and the lighting. So that, yes, I believe that'll be it.
Commissioner Bergeron.
So that, safe to say, we're on budget for the project, other
Yes.
than the site work, which is not part of the original price.
Correct.
And the
Correct.
opening, I was out there yesterday, I saw John, and so I was I bumped into him, got a nice tour, so the staff are doing a great job.
They are
The
doing a
city
great
staff
job.
doing it, it's like digging out a pool, and it's like, have you seen the opening? It's really incredible. But the time frame for it, because somebody was asking, and I didn't hear when somebody asked you, John.
We were hoping to have it complete by the end of July, but now it looks like it's gonna be probably the end of August, early September, unfortunately.
But we're definitely scheduled that no matter what, the current skate park is done by July 1st.
Correct.
Commissioner Ackerman?
Yes, if it does extend into that later part of the summer, would there be any cost overruns anticipated?
No.
It just,
No, we just got going a little bit late due to weather and other things, that's all.
okay, so the company that we've hired to actually build the skate park hasn't even been on site for the most part to do that?
They actually have arrived, yes, they
Okay.
are on site.
All right.
So hopefully we're gonna see some significant progress next week.
Excellent.
That's my
Thank you.
hope.
Anything else? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and the motion passes.
Mayor, would you permit me, to make a comment? I wasn't joking when I said Tom LaCroix, who's a young engineer who joined us. He's a pretty smart fellow. He's been working on a skate park, and he did a lot of the work, the engineering design under Amy's supervision, and he's the one who came up with the lighting plan, and so, because he's here, I wanted to recognize him.
Great.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to Parks and Recreation Department. We have item A.
I'll make a motion to approve the selection of Mr. Robert Guidoboni of Nashua, New Hampshire, to the position of Stello Stadium Attendant at the Parks and Recreation Department. Starting salary for this position will be $24.49 per hour. Funding is through Department 177 Parks and Recreation Fund, General Account Classification 51 Salaries and Wages.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? Commissioner Bergeron?
He definitely wants the job because he's taking a pay cut to do it, but to stay in that spot, but so that's good. So we're, big shoes to fill, but it looks like you got a good
He's
candidate, so.
Yeah, he's a good employee. I think he's gonna do a great job.
Yeah.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Mr. Guidoboni is not here, is he?
He's not here.
Okay. Item B.
I'll make a motion to approve the selection of Mr. Sean Simmons of Nashua, New Hampshire, to the position of Groundsman 1 at the Parks and Recreation Department. Starting salary for this position will be $21 per hour. And is through Department 177 Parks and Recreation Fund, General Account Classification 51 Salaries and Wages.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? Commissioner Moriarty?
Superintendent Caggiano? Just a minor point regarding this application I'd like to bring to your attention. And I'm sure this gentleman is very qualified for the job and deserves the appointment, but on his application, he has a reference of a city employee, and that same person was involved in the interview process. So in my eyes, it wasn't a clean process. Just moving forward, I don't think that should happen.
He was not supervised by the interviewer during his tenure with the city. It was a employee that worked, they worked together many years ago, over, I think it was, it's been over 17 years since it's more of an acquaintance.
Which is fine, but I still don't
I get
think,
it.
from the outside looking in, if somebody's reviewing that, so moving forward, I just
Should
thought
ask for additional references.
Okay.
That's all.
Agreed. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think one of the reasons too, that we probably would have done that, but this was an internal candidate, so he.
Anything else?
References in this case.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item C.
I'll make a motion to approve the selection of Mr. Jeffrey DeSalvo of Woburn, Mass. to the position of Recreation Coordinator at the Parks and Recreation Department. Salary would be grade 11, step 9, at a rate of $38,922 per year. Funding will be through Department 177 Parks and Recreation Funds, General and Special Revenue Account Classifications, 51 Salaries and Wages.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? Commissioner Ackerman.
Yes, Superintendent, is it normal that we ask our applicants to take a series of practical tests and questions? Is that part of the interview, or did we have so many applicants that you added it to it?
No, we normally, for most positions, have some form of testing to establish, writing abilities, communication, thought process on how to set up a program or an event.
Great, thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah, I just
Commissioner
wanted to
Moriarty.
comment, Thank you, Mayor. I just want to comment that I thought you found an excellent candidate here. I enjoyed reading his resume and his experience, so best of luck.
Yeah,
with this.
it's been a long spring, as you all know, and we're really looking forward to being fully staffed up front again and being able to really start looking at new programs, new ideas for the future.
And Jeff wanted to be here tonight, but
Right.
he couldn't because he's on a bus trip with some kids, right?
That's correct.
That's why he's not here, otherwise he would have been here.
I'll try and bring them next month, and so you can at least
Great.
meet them.
He worked for the Salem Boys and Girls Club.
Boys and Girls Club.
My partner's on the board of directors there, so she's not going to be happy with me, but that's okay. He seems like a great candidate. Very impressive resume.
Absolutely.
All those in, anybody else? Commissioner Pappas?
Yeah, I just wanted to, it certainly is a wonderful candidate, but it was just to answer a question that was asked by Commissioner Ackerman, that especially if we're doing, and it's been very helpful, and it was kind of long and hard fought, that we do especially stuff like equipment operator, that we do give the tests, and that's been, I think that it's been hard fought, and it's been very, it's benefited the city very well.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes.
Thank you.
Item D.
I'll make a motion to accept, place on file a thank you note regarding the Holocaust ceremony in April.
Second?
Discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We'll now move on to the wastewater department.
I'll make a motion to approve the user warrants as presented.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes.
I'll make a motion to approve the contracts with Pauladine of Riceboro, Georgia, and BASF Corp. of Florham Park, New Jersey, for the purchase of polymer in the amounts of $300,000 and $10,000 respectively. Funding will be through Department 169 Wastewater Fund, Wastewater Account Classification, 61 Supplies and Materials.
Any discussion? Commissioner Moriarty.
Well, if I can, I may be wrong in my memory here, but I thought in the past years, that this BASF out of New Jersey was a sole source provider for the city, but I read in your summary that you like to go through different sources and find the best price, so.
So what happens is the consistency of the sludge tends to change over time. We changed from a belt filter press many years ago, and we had a belt filter press many years, 2014. We changed the style of presses that we have. So now we have an inclined screw press. So that requires a different kind of polymer. The belt filter press was a dry polymer. This is a liquid emulsion polymer. It's very chemical and technical, and there's bonding and things like that. So we do like to bring the companies in periodically to make sure that we're using the appropriate stuff find the stuff that's going to perform the best, we do tend to sole source to that provider at that time because it is the sole source best product at that time.
Thank you.
Does that make sense? Okay.
Anyone else? If not, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes.
Under letter C, I'll make a motion to approve the contract with Highland Power of Brockton, Mass. for the Washita generator in the amounts of $30,000. Funding will be through Department 169 Wastewater Fund, Wastewater Account Classification 54 Property Services.
Second the motion.
Any discussion? Commissioner Bergeron?
I'm just looking at it, so it's $499 a week,
Yes.
and so are they, do they come weekly? Are they
Yes.
on site weekly?
Yes.
For like 4 hours at a time or whatever? It's
I haven't-
$125 an hour?
Yeah, I haven't timed them to see how long it is, but they're providing, the weekly maintenance service to maintain that generator for us.
And they've been doing the maintenance since 2008. How old is the generator, do you know?
The Waukesha is, I believe, from when the digester complex was built back in 2000.
It's up for replacement, thank God.
Yes, FY18
That's what I'm
is
asking.
less.
You're
Well, I was
18.
wondering if this was a newer piece of equipment that we had a
No.
maintenance contract on, or is it an older piece of equipment?
is
that-
not.
It seems like it would be a lot of money, but it's, I'm sure, specialized equipment. so-
It is specialized,
So
yeah.
they come every week,
Yes.
basically.
It's obsolete, really, and it needs to be replaced, and it is scheduled for replacement in fiscal year 18 upcoming. It's sort of the BOMAG of wastewater.
It's sort of the what?
BOMAG.
BOMAG of wastewater. Remember the old compactor that created?
It costs
Oh,
a
yes, right,
fortune.
right, right. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Under letter D, I'll make a motion to approve the contract with Process Energy Services for an energy audit of the wastewater treatment facility in the amount of $22,800. Funding will be through Department 169 Wastewater Fund Grant Activity, New Hampshire DES Energy Audit.
Second the motion.
Discussion? Commissioner
Okay,
Bergeron?
so I just had a question, and I'm gonna kind of move down a little bit. So this is basically a grant we're getting.
It is. We're paying for it up front, but they're reimbursing us the money.
Correct. So,
Yeah.
when are they doing this energy audit? Because I'm looking down at letter F, and we're awarding HVAC upgrades for $896,956.
Yep, so they are looking at the projects. They are, that's one of the things that we flagged, because we do have a fair amount of things going on at the treatment facility, not just the HVAC upgrades, but the headworks and the primary basins, and there's a fair amount of projects. So they're going to be reviewing the plans and making sure that those are all up to snuff. But they will not be auditing the current HVA system. They'll be auditing the plans for the new one.
So they'll be auditing this plan for the $896,000,
They will look at that, yes.
but we're approving it today. I'm
Yeah.
saying, would we wait to have the audit first and then approve this? When is do we know, I'm sorry. I'm doing my Ted Kennedy and finishing my own sentences, I'm sorry.
I don't think that would change the HVAC contract, do you?
I don't. They always design to the highest standards, to the most, we've worked with these engineers a lot in the past, right, Pierce? And they always get us energy efficiency and all of that. So this audit is just kind of getting more of a baseline to see. I wish I had a better answer. We use energy efficiency in all the designs. So it is going to look at it, but I don't know that it's going to make any changes based off of their recommendations.
Commissioner Ackerman?
But to Commissioner Bergeron's commentary there, why would we go through if it's not gonna change and they do a great job in the whole 9 yards, why wouldn't we do an audit and see if it does change before we do the appropriation for almost a $900,000 project? kind of rhetorical, but doesn't it make sense that?
I personally don't think much is gonna come from this energy audit. This energy audit isn't something really that, we looked for. This is something that DES is sort of pressuring communities to do. So I think the HVAC upgrades are pretty badly needed.
They're absolutely badly needed. And the design is complete and has been approved by the state and all of the appropriate entities there.
And they worked very hard we had some really crazy prices for the HVAC upgrades, and they worked really hard to negotiate this price.
Yes.
So I would hate to lose this because we could end up spending significantly more, right, on the HVAC upgrades?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, we could ask them to look at that first, just to make sure, but I think I don't see that we're gonna really see any significant change.
Commissioner
We're
Bergeron.
doing the audit because it's required or because we think it's necessary?
Because it's
It's
sort of.
federal
it's
money,
sort
I
of
mean,
re-
it's
sort
back to
of-
the whole
it's sort of
federal money
required.
grant. So they're giving us the money, so we're doing it, or?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not really costing the city anything. They're pushing the communities, and some communities are seeing some good savings in just process control changes and difference in pumping speeds and using the variable frequency drives. And so there is the opportunity to get some energy savings out of it as well.
Commissioner Moriarty.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I'm fairly fascinated by this. I'm excited that we're gonna have an energy audit and see if there is gonna be a positive change here. And I don't know if you're prepared to make the comparison, or who does that, what your costs are now and after the audit, and that we make some changes, if there is savings. To me, that's fascinating, if we can do that.
Yeah, that is part of the scope of work, is they'll take and they'll look at what we have now, and then they'll offer these changes, and they'll look at percents that you can save, percent power, percent dollars.
Right.
So,
Commissioner Ackerman.
the energy audit, what's the time period? What's the scope of the project? Is it gonna be done over 1 month, 2, 3?
It's a couple of months. He said typically, depending on the size of the facility, 1 to 2 months. And then there's an amount of work that we have to give back. We give him some data on the past usage and that kind of background.
Would it be possible, as, assuming we go forward with this, to present the findings of that back to the board?
Absolutely.
So that we can then, understand the realized savings, if any, whether it be in environmental and/or revenue?
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be great.
Alderman Siegel, our liaison from the Board of Aldermen, is now present.
I apologize, everybody. I had a meeting that was supposed to end an hour.
Not going on.
Anything else on the energy audit? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes. Item E.
Make a motion to approve the change order to the Headworks Upgrades contract with T-Buck Construction, Inc. in the amount of $27,625.06. Funding will be through Department 169 Wastewater Fund, SRF Loan Activity Headworks Upgrade.
Second the motion.
Discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
Under letter F, I'll make a motion to award the HVAC upgrades contract in the amount of $896,956 to Monadnock Building Company of Jaffrey, New Hampshire. Funding will be through Department 169 Wastewater Fund, Wastewater Activity, AC, and Air Handling Units.
Second the motion.
Discussion? Commissioner
So
Bergeron.
this is simply an air system. We've done the heating systems.
We've done the heating system, so yes, this
heating
is some of
systems
the
are
air
done.
handlers. Yeah, well, the heating system's never done, but the boilers are replaced. The HVAC project, the air handlers are being replaced for the main office area and the laboratory. There is the grip building and the sludge pumping building, or pumping room, and an electrical room, and a couple of offices. It's involved all the replacement ductwork and vent work and ceiling replacements because we're tearing down things that we can't put back up. So it's actually a very large project.
And the time frame for this project is?
I don't actually have a good answer for that. It depends on how quickly we can get the ball rolling. This is Monadnock Builders. One of the reasons why it's been kind of an adventure with them is they have, we have to award the contract in phases based off of their size of their company. They have certain bonding requirements. So we have to award a partial contract and then the next phase and then the next phase. So it is broken down into phases through the engineering firm.
Does our engineering department manage this project? Because you went out, you approached Monadnock, correct? We put it out to bid and didn't get qualified bidders. And then we approached,
Monadnock had shown an extreme amount of interest in it and was there the better part of 2 or 3 days, just really getting involved and taking measurements. And they found that the overall cost of the project exceeded their bid capacity, which is why we have to do the partial contracts with them.
So Wright Pierce will be involved with overseeing this, or, and the engineering firm that does a lot of work with the wastewater treatment plant. And they did the original design.
They did do the design, yes.
Commissioner Moriarty.
Yeah, I was just wondering, Noel, who was involved with the bidding process, the negotiation process? Was that, were you with that? Was that the consultants doing this?
The direct negotiations with Monadnock?
Yes.
So our consultants helped us with that. Bill Keating is our wastewater engineer. He assisted with that. So between,
And the purchasing manager.
and the purchasing
Dan
manager.
Kukin as well.
No, I mean, my hat's off. I thought that was some great maneuvering going on here
Yeah.
to get this to work for us, for the city, to save the city money. Reviewing this, I thought that was great. The whole team, I appreciate the work they put into it.
Thank you.
Yep.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes.
under letter G, I'll make a motion to approve the selection of Mr. Douglas McFarland of Manchester, New Hampshire, to the position of mechanic at the wastewater treatment plant, first class at the wastewater treatment, wastewater treatment plant. Starting salary for the position will be $26.97 per hour. Funding will be through Department 169 Wastewater Fund, wastewater account classifications, 51 salaries and wages.
Second the motion.
Discussion? Commissioner Ackerman.
Noel, I superintendent, or acting superintendent. The individual that's here, I thought we were already at full capacity in terms of headcount last month. Did somebody leave that I don't know about?
We had a couple of positions open. This position actually went before the board back at the March BPW meeting. The gentleman that had accepted the position declined it
I see.
far into the process. So we reopened the position internally and externally and took another look at the candidates and found another individual. We are still not fully staffed with this. We are still, with this approval, we'll be down one mechanic and one superintendent. But we're very, very close to fully staffed.
The other mechanic is from the promotion where we promoted Scott Law to foreman. He was a mechanic, so then,
Okay.
so that opened up a mechanic position.
I'm just trying to keep my head straight.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
There's a lot of moving parts.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes.
Under letter H, I'll make a motion to approve the water valve and yard hydrant installations contract in the amount of $179,925 to William P. Davis Excavation of Hampton, New Hampshire. Funding will be through Department 169 Wastewater Fund, wastewater account classification, 81 capital improvements.
Second the motion.
Discussion?
Another bunch of outdated, old equipment.
Yes.
Could we get a explanation on this briefly?
As far as the project itself?
Yeah, well, exactly, just for the public, because
Sure. The facility uses plant water to clean all of our tanks and flush our plant water is the end water that it's the plant effluent, it's the end water. It's pretty basically done at that point before it goes out to the river. So we use it internally so we don't have to use Pennachuck water. It's a cost savings to the facility, to the city. So in order to access that, we have yard hydrants, similar to fire hydrants, but much smaller, but they still use like fire hoses, so that we can use the high pressure water to clean the tanks. These yard hydrants were installed as early as the 1970s upgrade, and they just have not been replaced along the way. As they break, you just move down to the next one that works, and you move down to the next one that works. So it has become a much bigger issue than had it been maintained along the way. So it is for the replacement of those yard hydrants as well as installation of some water valves along the way that were not installed during any of the upgrades.
I'm sorry, did I read there was going to be 17 replaced, or
17 out of 21.
17 are being replaced? Right.
Commissioner Ackerman.
Noel, I heard you say that the earlier ones weren't maintained properly. Do we have a plan of action to maintain these differently?
Absolutely. We are, the new management at the wastewater treatment facility is very, very big on preventative maintenance. We have the cartograph program installed throughout the city. The entire city uses it, but it does have maintenance reminders that will pop up, so it's easier to not lose these pieces of equipment.
All right, thank you.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Osborne. Now we have the Solid Waste Department.
Under letter A, I make a motion to approve the selection of Carla Thibodeau of Nashua, New Hampshire to the position of Collection Equipment Operator at the Solid Waste Department. Starting salary for the position will be $23.16 per hour. Funding for this position is through Department 168 Solid Waste Fund, Solid Waste Account Classification, 51 Salaries and Wages.
Second the motion.
Discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now we'll move on to administration.
Under letter A, I'll make a motion to approve the selection of Mr. Charles F. Anderson, Jr. of Hudson, New Hampshire to the position of Public Relations Administrator. Starting salary for this position will be $54,325 per year. Funding is through Departments 160 Admin Engineering, 65%, Solid Waste, 15%, Wastewater, 20%, Funds General, Solid Waste, and Wastewater Account Classifications, 51 Salary and Wages.
Second the motion.
Any discussion? Commissioner Ackerman.
Yes. Director, this candidate looks extremely qualified.
He's
with
here
his-
too.
Oh, terrific.
He
What I
is.
was, that's wonderful. How are you, sir? Excellent. I just wanted to inquire, it looks, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like he's currently employed.
Mhm.
Is he leaving that?
Yes, he is retiring from the Manchester Police Department.
Okay,
He's been there for 20 years, and it's time to retire, and we're the beneficiary of that.
no problem. I was just kind of trying to understand the motivation from
Right.
the existing role, the existing salary to where he's gonna go going forward. So that's awesome. Good luck.
It is
Thank you.
awesome. We interviewed 7 candidates. Commissioner Moriarty was very involved, and the first round, we interviewed a couple people, and we were both pretty disappointed with the outcome of that. So we were really excited to interview Chuck, and he has incredible customer service experience, and has a great sense of humor and a really upbeat personality. We're really excited to have somebody of his caliber in this position. So, and it was unanimous. We were all, Andy, Patricia, and Carolyn O'Connor, and I were on the first interview, and then Commissioner Moriarty and I interviewed him the second time. And I think I can say that we're all as enthusiastic as I am about having him. So we're very excited. I think he'll serve the city very well.
Any other discussion?
I would just make a further comment, Mayor, if I could.
Yes.
My conception of this position changed in the process. I was thinking of a young college grad who grew up on an internet and, had everything. And as we went through the process, and this person we're asking to wear a lot of different hats, do a lot of different things. And I think the director and I were, well, at least I was thinking that, well, we needed somebody who's going to be tough up front on the front line, who can handle these tough calls from the taxpayers, from the elected officials, from the media. You have to be cool under pressure. And Chuck was a very strong candidate. I'm so happy that he's accepted if we approve it. And I think it's going to be great for the city.
And when will Mr. Anderson start? Now?
No, well, no, he has to finish up. He's got some duties. He is actually a resource officer at Memorial High School in Manchester right now, so he has to finish up those duties, which will take him right through June. So I believe we spoke around July 10th or so. Yeah. So,
Because I do have a complaint he could take right now. I guess. Give it directly to the director then. All right, so the motion has been made and seconded. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. And welcome to the city, Mr. Anderson. We handled item B at the beginning of the meeting as a result of the amendment of the agenda. So we're on to item C, which is informational, the Burke Street update.
okay, sorry, I was. Okay, so we have, again, a group, a team, big team that have been working together. And consists of Alderman Dean McCarthy, Commissioner Bergeron, the mayor's been on the team, Kim Kleiner came to the last meeting, and then several members of city staff. So there have been a lot of discussions about the building and how to approach it. We're looking at the garage and whether it makes sense to demolish the garage or whether it makes sense to renovate it. It looks like it may make more sense to demolish it just because of all the issues we have with it. There's a significant cost. It looks like it's probably gonna be somewhere in the $45 million range, somewhere in there. Maybe a little bit more if we demolish the building. So it is expensive. We're looking at phases of the project, and we have a meeting coming up with the mayor to discuss the possibility of, look at the bonding schedule and just talk about the possibility of a phased-in approach. It's certainly not something I think that any of us think we could do all at once, but maybe in a phased-in basis. We talked about doing perhaps the administration building first and getting the office space going. And then addressing the garage after. There's the question of the school department potentially occupying the first floor. We have not had a conversation recently with them about that. We need to do that to see if they're still interested. There's a new superintendent coming on board, so I'm sure his opinion will likely weigh in significantly. So there's sort of a lot of moving pieces. We hope to have a presentation, though, soon that we could present both to the Board of Public Works and the Board of Aldermen. I think that's sort of, I don't know, Commissioner Bergeron, if you want to add anything to that, but.
Commissioner Bergeron.
Yeah, obviously, it's, we've a lot of time and effort, not on my part attending the meetings, but on the part of HKT and the city staff, a lot of effort. We've gone from refurbishing to taking down to back, and I think we've come full circle again.
Mm-hmm.
We've come full circle again. Either plan is going to be extremely expensive and a lot more than we had anticipated or planned, or really didn't know quite frankly, we didn't know what it was gonna cost. So I think there's just, again, to the directors, there's different scenarios, but it will be safe to say either project would be 45 million or so.
Mm-hmm.
We thought it would be less costs at some point to build new versus refurbish the current facility, but it doesn't look like that's the case. And then we've, just, if I might, we've discussed scaling the project down, and now you're back to scaling the project down, but then it defeats the purpose of doing the project, so. At what point do we think we'd be doing a presentation to the commissioners, or?
I think that's probably going to depend upon the outcome of our meeting that we have, I believe, is it next week? When we discuss.
I think it's Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah. So I think we can discuss it then, but I think we need to have a presentation fairly quickly, hopefully within the next month or so.
Any questions or comments?
What-
Commissioner Ackerman?
How long is the HKT, was it? The consultant, how long is their contract through? When is their,
They're pretty well, they had asked for a little bit more money, and so they're finished at this point, pretty much finished.
and will they have a finished product to share with us, information that's part of that public?
Yes.
Is that gonna be a public meeting or something between the aldermen and our board?
It will be a public meeting.
It will be, okay.
Yes, absolutely. And I would anticipate that we'd have both the Board of Public Works and the Board of Aldermen and have one.
Yeah, I think that would make sense, yeah.
It'd probably make the most sense to have, rather than pay staff, the HKT architects to do two meetings, you know, and then I guess it could be a conversation too between the Board of Aldermen and the Board of Public Works on next steps, if any,
Yeah.
so.
If there's nothing else, we'll go on to the next item D, which is also informational, the director's report.
Okay, so the first is just some construction inspection by our engineering department. This is Berkshire Street. Water main replacement by Penachuk. Another construction inspection on Amherst Street, 539 Amherst Street. Berry Construction was doing this work. This is the, if you haven't seen the retaining wall construction yet at the skate park, you should definitely go down and see it. It's really pretty amazing, and the street department has done great work. And the staff is really proud of the work that they've done. They love doing this sort of thing, because they find it to be more meaningful than just always doing maintenance work, so they really like to do these projects, so. We did some mill and fill on Tinker Road, which was badly needed. We are going to be paving Tinker Road too, though. We're gonna that's gonna be a priority on our list for paving, because it is very badly needed. But we used our new paver to do the mill and fill, so. It's just another picture of it. There was a sinkhole drainage repair at 293 Main Street. There was an old concrete drain line that was crushed, so we ended up replacing the pipe and the catch basin. We repaired the guardrail on at 300 DW Highway near Barmakian Jewelers. Saw that. It was hit by a vehicle, so repaired that. We removed a beaver dam on Gilson Road. Beavers blocked 2 30-inch culverts. We removed the blockage and dropped the water before it came over the road, thank goodness. A sinkhole sewer repair on Charles Street. This was an emergency situation. There was a compromised concrete sewer pipe. And we made the repair and went back a few days later to repave the area. We replaced some delineators on DW Highway. The street department has been working very hard at Holman, doing the stadium dugout repair. They're doing amazing work. This is something that is above and beyond what the street department usually does. We usually do pipe and that sort of thing. So they're doing a really great job.
Is that the visitor side right I'm looking at?
Yes. It was badly needed. We had a community service day on April 22nd. We had over 300 people help to clean city parks and public spaces, people from PAL, Revere University, the high schools, GAD, Comcast, a whole lot of people, so it was a great day. We had Arbor Day at Sunset Heights Elementary School. Eversource was there, the State Forestry Office, and we planted a river birch at the school, so. And
Fourth grade.
that would be the mayor. And the kids sang songs and recited poems. It's always a great day. We have volunteers from Keller Williams, our very own Commissioner Bergeron in that group. In celebration of Red Day on May 11th, we had 60 volunteers come to celebrate Red Day, so thank you, Commissioner Bergeron and your colleagues.
We just used the bathroom at the street department and hung out.
Yeah, okay. No,
They did a lot of
I
work.
heard you did a lot of work. It's just a picture of the snowdrift crabapple trees in full bloom at Greeley Park, and also a bald eagle that has been visiting the park for several years.
Really?
Can you
Does
yeah.
Does the bald eagle nest there?
That's a good question. That I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, that could
That's
be where they,
exactly-
yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting.
We have our new scoreboard at Holman Stadium.
Oh, that's in, I didn't know
It is
that.
in, yeah.
We should
We're
have
all
a,
excited.
a site visit by the Board of Public Works to go out there. Check
Sure.
it out, they could show us how it works.
Absolutely. We could have our next meeting there in the
Well, maybe
skybox.
that, I'd like that. We could do that, but
We should have our,
Think about that.
we should have our, yeah, have our meeting
we
in the
could do it in
box.
one of the.
Skybox.
Yeah, in a skybox.
Well, we
We
used to
could.
call it mayor's box, but we don't call it that anymore.
That'd be sort of fun, don't you think?
Of course it would be.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Let's think about that.
Yeah, we'll see if it conflicts with any events or anything.
While we're on that subject, is there a Public Works Day this year?
Yes, yes. And we haven't set a date yet because we're hoping to have our Public Works Day at the same time that we open the skate park. So we could have because we're gonna have it at Stellos, so I thought it'd be really cool to be able to showcase the skate park while we're at the same time, so. So it looks like it'll be some August, September timeframe. That's what we're thinking. This is Springfield Prep at North Common. We have the carousel in at Legacy Playground, which we're really excited about. The new music festival is
When
on-
did that one go in?
When did it go in?
Yeah,
A week and a half ago.
looks good.
Yeah, it does. We had the New Muse Festival, Great American Downtown, sponsored on May 6th, and you can see the newly installed downtown pianos. We assisted doing a number of things. Park and Rec put the portable stage. We had trash containers out. Street Department worked at putting in barriers, and so almost every department participated. This is the Mill Yard Bike Paddle Run, which was held on May 6th. There was a bike race from Nashua to Hollis, and then back to the Mill Pond, and then they paddled to the Mill Yard. And then, I guess they ran 2.5 miles through Mine Falls Park, so. Sounds like a fun adventure, but one I'm not sure I would have wanted to participate in. This is a clean out at Park and Rec. Mechanics cutting notches for the wet weather facility. Rake, actually, just to give a quick update on the wet weather facility, we've been working diligently to try to get that running at maximum capacity. Great news, the last, not this past rain, we didn't need to activate wet weather, but the storm before, we were able to get 50 million gallons through the plant. And that's the first time we've been able to do that. So that was really exciting. The capacity is 60 million gallons, and we got 50 million through. So that was really great. So a couple of things we're doing in the wet well, there is some material that is basically flaking off the wall, so we're removing all of that. We put, what you see here is We built new rakes, we put new brushes on the rakes. Basically, what those rakes do is they bring the material up, the rags and all the debris up from the bar rack to get it out of the system. That wasn't working all that well, so it was clogging the screens. This is working actually very well. The other issue, we don't have a bypass, and that, you'll see that coming, you may see that coming soon. The street department may do it, we'll have to see what the design looks like. But we don't have a bypass right now for wet weather. We're gonna create a bypass so that if we ever do have any issues in the future, we can bypass. And when the vortex has been a bit of an issue because, which is the very bottom, because we can't get to it and clean it, so. And partly because it was a poor design, because the manhole is offset, it's not right over it, so there's no way to get to the vortex. So we're creating a whole new manhole, basically, that will help us to get directly to the vortex so we can clean it. So we're hoping that those things will solve the problem. We're excited about that, but we did get 50 million gallons through.
And who's overseeing that? I'm sorry, usually we don't question the director's report, but
Yeah, no,
who's
that's a-
overseeing the West Weather facility, that manhole, the city?
So
engineer?
there's a number of us that are overseeing it. Wright Pierce is primarily doing the design, but both myself and Andy Patricia and Steve Dukrin, Noel Osborne are all, and Jay Hayden are all on the team talking about and Rick Cantu, I'm sorry, I forgot Rick. So there are a number of us that have kind of put our heads together to solve the problem, but Wright Pierce is advising us, so. So here's the installation of the brushes for the wet weather facility rake. You can see. And this is just one of our mechanics repairing TPS pump 1. And we, basically what TPS pump 1 does is it moves thickened primary sludge from the gravity thickener to the sludge storage tank. So, and we do have redundancy on that. We have 3 backups. You can see the old and the new valve operator. The valve operator opens the valve that connects sludge storage tank 5 to the dewatering screw press feed line. And Bicentennial Elementary 5th grade class came on May 10th. And we did some cleanup, Solid Waste Department did some cleanup on Fifield and all. There was just a lot of trash sort of thrown around, so we cleaned that up. And we're working on some gas collection right now in the landfill. We have a total of 6 horizontal gas collectors that are being installed by a company by the name of Charter Environmental. So. And the next household hazardous waste collection is scheduled for June 1st from 3 to 7 at the street department. And the landfill will be closed on Monday, May 29th for Memorial Day, so trash will be delayed by 1 day that week. And that's it. Any questions?
Any questions, comments? Commissioner Pappas?
I think we discussed this last fall. There's a construction company that's been leaving like 3 to 4 really large diggers in a large flatbed truck at the Holman Stadium parking lot. It really is a site issue over there. And
Okay.
we have, people using the tennis court, you have people running into Murray Field, and they often park them right where parents pick up kids at Amherst Street School.
Okay.
And they were, I think it was last fall that we talked about
Yeah, I
it.
remember that.
And, it's not like one piece, it's kind of obtrusive.
Okay, I'll look into that and get that moved.
Are we on commissioners' comments?
Yes.
Yes,
I think
we
so.
are on commissioners' comments. Commissioner Ackerman.
Oh, thank you,
Mr. Mayor is-
the deputy chair, the vice chair. On our last meeting, You had mentioned, Director, that you were having conversations with the Economic Development Director, Tim Cummings, relative to the request that the railroad wanted the city to do, and you were holding off whether or not you wanted to have the city attorney reach out to the railroad to clean up the Parkway area, because it is still extremely messy. And in fact, if you'd like me to send you pictures, I will. How is that dialogue coming? And are we prepared now to move forward to reaching out to the city attorney, to reach out to the railroad?
We can ask the city attorney to reach out at this point. I don't think that Director Cummings has had much luck, as we have. I don't think that I'll be honest, I don't think the city attorney is gonna have much luck either, but we can try that. I'll ask them to.
I think it's an environmental hazard that a lot of that material is sitting beside the railway where some people do walk. Maybe they should, I'm sure they shouldn't, but at the same time, it's extremely unsightly with all the railroad ties, the broken trees,
I agree.
and other railroad pieces of equipment that are along that railway, along the Parkway, which is beautiful.
I know, I agree. The unfortunate part is it's on railroad property, so we can't force them to do anything. I've even offered to clean it up, with our staff, so,
Offered to who?
the railroad,
Okay, so you do have a contact there.
yes,
Thanks.
We
Let me know
do.
how you make out with the city attorney.
okay,
All
will
right.
do.
Commissioner Bergeron.
I just had a question in regard to the Chestnut Street Oval, and we had approved for a certain period of time that we would keep it square over by the district court. And I did see the presentation, I'm not sure if it was for infrastructure or something by Director Cummings about the one-way street plans and things. Do we have any update on how that, maybe Alderman Siegel, someone knows, how Director Cummings or the mayor, how that's working out?
No, I don't. I don't see all that many people there.
I
But-
mean, as far as the traffic flow.
Oh, I think the traffic flow's worked okay. I don't think that's been a problem, but I have not received an update from Economic Development, but I can get one for you for our next meeting, to find out what the plan is. If you-
Commissioner Moriarty.
Director Fano, with the outdoor seating on Main Street,
Mhm.
who watches the appropriate distance allowed? Just going down there tonight, I noticed that it doesn't sound there's a lot of space for people to walk, but I couldn't remember what our ordinance was, 8 feet or
It's 5
5 feet, okay,
Yeah.
no, 5 feet.
It's 5 feet. We do keep an eye on that. Mark Jennings from our engineering department, we do try to keep an eye, but that's not to say that they don't encroach further. That happens, especially on weekends when they know that.
Do we need to get the stick out? No?
Please no stick.
Do you have it now, or?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. Just trying to be helpful.
The
Alderman
other-
Siegel's got it, so.
I gave it to Terry Wade over at City Room. Just kidding.
Alderman Siegel.
Just briefly, you had asked about Director Cummings and the traffic flow, and you had asked if the Board of Aldermen had any additional information, and I can tell you, we don't have any information that you don't have. So I just wanted to clarify that for your benefit.
Commissioner Moriarty.
Just another comment, Director Photo. I've been noticing, this has come up before, I think maybe Commissioner Pappas brought it up on Broad Street, that intersection where you're going onto the highway. Every morning, there's a long line of cars waiting to go south onto the Everett Turnpike, and the other roads are all free. It's just like, for some reason, there's it goes back several lights of cars. I don't know why the engineer can't review that at certain times and say, okay, this time there's heavy traffic, these people are trying to go south.
At what time?
It's like every morning, like,
In the
between
morning.
7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, there's a ton of cars,
Okay.
and the other roads are all free.
Do you have any sense of that, Engineer Dukran, of why that?
problem. I know my husband was out there. And it seems every time he goes out there, the problem cures itself. No, I think it's more like, he and the technicians, they go out there, and they look to see if anything's changed, and sometimes they tweak it, but they don't make any major changes. But it's good to know it's happening again, and I guess we'll advise him that he should pay more attention. He probably should be out here the actual time, which is around the 7:30
Yeah.
time frame.
7:30 to
Yeah,
12.
maybe that's what he needs to do to see it himself. He and the technicians, and they can make more adjustments. Traffic changes, as you know, so they will have to maybe reprogram it, maybe have a traffic consultant design a reprogramming of the intersection altogether and implement that. The controllers are supposed to be very, very sophisticated controllers to take various kinds of programming for each time frame or time period in a day, as well as different days of the week. So they should make some more adjustments.
Commissioner Pappas.
Comment when they go to not do it after school finishes up, because some of the backup, like it's probably not going to be bad in the summer, because there aren't a lot of kids being dropped off at Nashua North or at Broad Street. So I would hate for someone to show up in July and think there's not a problem.
Yes, yes. So I think there should be a programming for when school's in session, and then a separate one for when school's out.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Ackerman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When I was recently at the mayor's Ward 5 meeting at Maine Dunstable School, I noticed something that was kind of a safety concern, if you will, and I don't know if a snowplow had hit a curb and there was a piece of asphalt, or two pieces of asphalt about this thick, that was raised up, and it was kind of a dangerous situation. It's to the left of the school, near where probably the teachers park, and it's close to where the dumpster would be, if you will. It might need a little attention, if it hasn't already been brought to your attention.
Okay.
One other question, and it's something that arose at the mayor's ward meeting, is that there was some concerns along West Hollow Street, where, at the bottom of Ledgewood Hills, where people are going through that light and things to that nature. And I know that, that's something that's probably beyond our control, but I think a commentary was about enforcement of speed and as well as going through that light. Is there anything that we could influence the appropriate city department to maybe address, please keep your speed at a reasonable hour, or some sort of
I
blanket?
believe, Mary, you can clarify if I'm wrong, but I believe that I spoke with Kim Klanner, and she was going to speak to the PD about some enforcement there. So I think she did that. Yes.
Excellent, excellent.
We're going to try to get that machine that measures the speed,
That's exactly what I was
tells
gonna
you the
suggest.
speed you're coming out there.
Excellent, thank you. One last question, and I don't know if I imagined this, because I dream a lot, but did I see something in the local newspaper about a proposal of a new driving pattern at the top of Library Hill in front of the mobile station where the firefighters' memorial park was? Is that something that's on the city's radar screen?
No. Yeah, I
Honestly, I'm telling you, I saw it in the top of the fold on the Nashua Telegraph. There was a design of having a rotary up in that area.
I think I know what that is.
Oh,
And-
yes.
and I'm
So
just
they,
try-
when,
I know.
some months ago, I would say in the wintertime, the outside firm by the name of Design, it's a group of volunteers, really. It's Design New Hampshire or something like that, came in and did a so-called charrette regarding Lock Street and French Hill as to kind of street improvements that might improve the neighborhood. So they spent kind of all day talking to residents, and they came up with some follow-up ideas. They ranged from improving the Salem Street tot lot to improving one of the intersections there to, a stop sign at Lock and Orange and some other things. But they did do a drawing of a change at that location.
Okay.
Now, I don't think that's something I don't think that particular idea is one that the city would pursue, but that was presented at one point, and there was a drawing of that.
Very good. Thank you. The
So-
dream- the dream is over, Mr.
See, yeah,
Thank you.
Sorry, Commissioner Pappas.
This is more directed at the mayor, and the reason I bring it up is that someone was kind enough to notice and send an email, so I really wanted to address, at the last meeting, there was some disagreement over an issue I had with funding, how we were doing the budget in regards to the wastewater. And you can disagree with someone without being disagreeable. And I thought it was a very poor reflection on our board and on the guest that sits at this table. And the public noticed it, and I certainly didn't appreciate it. Thank you.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
Now, we haven't yet done commissioners' comments, have we? We're
That
still
what
on the
we-
direct.
That's what we just did.
We
Oh.
did it well.
That's what we just did when you left.
Well, there's been some discussion of, I have a comment. There's been some discussion regarding the valuable experience that public works directors can bring to the job. And I just saw an article in the Boston Globe, the Sunday magazine, about a gentleman named Chris Osgood, who has been hired as, they call it the street director or something, but it's really a director of public works. And he's in charge of, everything, street repair, sidewalks, transportation, snow plowing. They're really focusing on fixing kind of the basic structures of city government, cracked pavement, street lights and all that. But I noticed that he had an MBA is his background, and he's being touted here as someone who's, very qualified and doing a good job. And I just, I focused on that because I know that our director has an MBA, which I consider to be a very valuable asset and a good background for the director of Public Works. So I thought this was an interesting article in light of the discussions that we've had in the past. And if anybody wants a copy, I do have copies.
Excellent.
Any other commissioner comments? If not, is there a potential non-public session?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to move to a non-public pursuant to RSA 91-A32C.
I'll second the motion.
Motion has been made and seconded. We need to do that by roll call. Could you please call the roll?
Mayor Donches,
Yes.
Commissioner Bergeron,
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Yes.
Commissioner Ackerman,
Yes.
Motion passes, and we will go into non-public session pursuant to the section of the statute that was cited in the motion. That means that the TV coverage should end now, and we will simply come back to go back into public session and adjourn. So there's no need to continue with the televised coverage of the meeting. And I asked everyone, except for the